Why do North Korea and Turkmenistan survive without collapsing? In the 21st century, North Korea and Turkmenistan remain among the most authoritarian regimes in the world. Despite being largely isolated from the global community, facing internal challenges, and having difficult living conditions for their populations, these countries have managed to sustain their regimes. But how do they manage to survive? Here are the key factors behind their ability to stay in power. 1. Strict control of information and media censorship. These countries maintain tight control over information and media censorship, preventing the population from developing anti-government sentiments. North Korea. The government completely controls all media outlets and the internet. Access to the outside world is virtually impossible. Foreign websites are blocked, and the media, television, radio, and newspapers only broadcast government-approved content. The propaganda and cult of personality surrounding Kim Jong-un and his family continuously reinforce loyalty to the regime. The North Korean people are raised with a distorted view of their reality, making it difficult for them to imagine an alternative. Turkmenistan. Similarly, in Turkmenistan, all media is state-controlled. Both state-run television and newspapers are used to disseminate government propaganda. The government has zero tolerance for dissent, so citizens only receive information that aligns with the regime's interests. The cult of personality and divine leadership, created around Sapar Murat Niyazov, Turkmenbashi, and continued under Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov, ensures that people are indoctrinated into unquestioning loyalty. 2. Cult of personality and leader ideals. Both regimes are built on a cult of personality, elevating the leader to a near-mythical status, making it difficult for citizens to imagine life without the leader. North Korea. The Kim family's rule is presented as divine. The country's official ideology, Yusha, self-reliance, praises the Kim family as the source of North Korea's independence. Kim Jong-un, along with his predecessors Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il, is portrayed as a godlike figure. This cult of personality promotes an environment where loyalty to the supreme leader is unquestioned, and the population is taught to revere the leadership from a young age. Turkmenistan. Sapar Murat Niyazov, known as Turkmenbashi, promoted a cult of personality where he was viewed as the earthly representative of God. This continued under Berdimuhamedov, who also positioned himself as the nation's supreme leader. Statues, streets, mountains, and even hospitals are named after him. This constant reminder of the leader's divinity reinforces a culture of loyalty and submission among the population. Third, strong control over the military and security forces. Both countries rely heavily on their military and security forces to suppress any opposition and ensure the survival of the regime. North Korea. The Korean People's Army is one of the largest and most powerful militaries in the world. The army serves as a crucial pillar for the regime's survival, not just for defense, but as a symbol of the regime's strength. Security forces, including the State Security Department, monitor the population for any signs of disloyalty. Political prisoners are often sent to labor camps, and dissent is met with severe punishment, including execution. These measures create an atmosphere of fear, preventing the formation of any significant opposition. Turkmenistan. While Turkmenistan's military is smaller than North Korea's, it still plays a crucial role in maintaining regime stability. Security forces are loyal to the regime, and there is a strong presence of police and intelligence services throughout society. Any attempt at dissent is quickly suppressed, with dissidents being arrested, silenced, or forced into exile. The regime's security apparatus is crucial for maintaining control and preventing any challenges to its authority. Fourth, international isolation and geopolitical position. Both countries have chosen paths of international isolation, which helps protect them from external threats and allows the regimes to maintain a tighter grip on power. North Korea. North Korea's isolation from the world has made it largely immune to international influence. Despite facing international sanctions, the regime has maintained control by reinforcing a self-sufficient economy. It has strategic alliances with China and Russia, which provide some level of support. The country's isolation and sanctions actually help the regime by reinforcing a narrative of victimhood, making the population more reliant on the state for survival. Turkmenistan. Turkmenistan follows a policy of neutrality and is not involved in any major international organizations like the European Union or the United Nations. The country maintains limited diplomatic relations with the West but enjoys strong economic ties with countries like Russia and China, primarily due to its natural gas exports. This geopolitical positioning allows the regime to avoid significant international scrutiny or pressure for reform. 5. Economic resources and state control. Both regimes rely heavily on natural resources and state-controlled economies, which enable them to maintain control over the population and avoid external economic pressures. North Korea. North Korea's economy is largely state-run, with industries like mining, weapons production, and agriculture controlled by the government. Despite the heavy sanctions, these resources allow the regime to remain self-sufficient to some extent. The government controls the distribution of food and employment, creating an environment where the population depends on the state for survival. Turkmenistan. Turkmenistan's vast natural gas reserves give the country significant economic leverage. The government controls the distribution of these resources, and the revenue from energy exports helps maintain the regime's stability. State control over key sectors of the economy allows the leadership to maintain control over the population by providing financial benefits to loyal groups. 6. Culture of fear and repression. A climate of fear exists in both countries, where even small signs of dissent can lead to severe punishment. This fear is one of the strongest tools for keeping the population in line. North Korea. The regime uses brutal punishment for perceived disloyalty. People suspected of opposing the government are often sent to concentration camps or executed. The collective punishment system ensures that even the families of suspected traitors are punished. This system of fear and repression keeps the population from openly challenging the regime. Turkmenistan. Similarly, Turkmenistan employs harsh tactics to prevent any opposition. Independent journalists, activists, and dissidents are routinely arrested, imprisoned, or forced into exile. The fear of reprisals keeps many citizens from speaking out, even if they are dissatisfied with the regime. Conclusion. The survival of North Korea and Turkmenistan is rooted in a combination of tight control over information, personality cults, military power, geopolitical isolation, and economic self-sufficiency. These regimes have created a system of control that discourages opposition and fosters loyalty through fear, dependency, and indoctrination. Their leaders have cultivated a culture of obedience, where dissent is almost impossible, and even small acts of rebellion are severely punished. The absolute control they maintain over their populations and the international environment allows them to remain in power despite global challenges.